The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Green.
Welcome into the Ingles studio. I am Jeremy Green of ESPN Asheville and the Sportsocracy.com, and this is the 2022 post-Senior Bowl mock draft for the Houston Texans. Well, things haven't gone quite according to plan for Houston. Now Lovie Smith takes over as the head coach after the firing of David Culley, which makes it even more guaranteed to me that their selection is going to be exactly what I had for them in the beginning. With the third pick in the 2022 post-Senior Bowl mock draft, the Houston Texans select Thibodeaux, edge rusher out of Oregon. A lot of people are going to see that and go, wait a minute. He's the most talented player in the draft. Well, he is, but there's a problem, and it seems to be getting put under a microscope by talent evaluators the more they watch him. His highs are phenomenal. This is a Khalil Mack level edge rusher. His good is unbelievable. The problem is that there's more bad and more non-existent than you would want. The good is so good. And if there's anybody that could possibly get it out of him, I do firmly believe it's Lovie Smith. I think he has more scheme versatility than other people do. He's very athletic, 6'5", 260. Probably, he's not going to run at the combine, but if he did, would probably run somewhere in the mid to high 4.5s. He's an athletic marvel. The only problem is it seemed like to me when Oregon had less than national title aspirations, he would take quarters off, not plays, not drives, quarters, halves. And the more I talk to people that are doing evaluations for teams, the more I'm hearing that from other people. So it's not just me seeing it. The high end is tremendous, and if you're Houston, you can't let him fall by you. He is the drop dead spot. Houston is the drop dead spot for Thibodeaux and Aiden Hutchinson. Now, here's the thing. They might have both on the board because I've heard neither Jacksonville nor Detroit are in love with either one of them. Washington wasn't in love with Chase Young either. They still took him. I don't see these two guys going 1-2. So whether it's Thibodeaux falls here, Hutchinson falls here, one of them I think will be the draft choice for the Houston Texans. Jonathan Grenard was really good last year. He was the lone bright spot on that defense. You slide either one of them in on the other side, and now you have a pass rush. That's what Houston has to do. They have a talent deficiency to damn near every team in the league. And that's not me taking shots. It's just me being honest. So I hope they're going to give more platitude to Lovie Smith than they did to David Culley. This would be a tremendous first pick in his regime as the head coach of the Houston Texans. If you agree with this pick, if you disagree with this pick, feel free to comment that in the comments of this video. I answer all of the questions. If there's a player you want to know how they would fit with the Houston Texans, or you like one of the picks I made, whatever the case may be, comment it. I answer them all out personally, and I do it every single day. So if you have a question, comment, concern, hot take, whatever the case may be, put it in the comments. With their second selection in the 2022 post-Senior Bowl mock draft, the Houston Texans select Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver out of Penn State. I am in love with this kid. The tape on him is intoxicating. Yeah, he's a slot guy. Yeah, it's a little high for a slot guy. He's a complete game changer. Complete game changer. There is nothing he doesn't do well. He's one of the best deep ball receivers in this draft. To be really honest with you, he kind of reminds me of Brandin Cooks. The only difference is I don't think he can play on the outside. 5'11", about $185, $180, somewhere in there. Gonna run in the low 4.3s. This gives Davis Mills the best opportunity to succeed. There are two things that young quarterbacks love: slot receivers and tight ends. The tight ends ran right before Houston, so there was no way for me to take one. And I'll be honest with you, I would rather get you a receiver here. There's a lot of depth at tight end. There are going to be undrafted tight ends that could come in and make an impact. Not immediately, but this is not an immediately team. No matter what you do, best case scenario, you're the third best team in your own division. So you have to accumulate the best players. Jahan Dotson, the drawback on him, he's not a good blocker. Whoopty shit, he's a slot receiver. There's really no other drawback. He did struggle with press at times, but he's so fast that it's really hard to press him. I do think he has high-end, top 20 receiver in the NFL upside, And that, to me, is something that would be very appealing to the Houston Texans. With their third selection, second rounder, Jaquan Brisker, the safety, also out of Penn State. I did not do that on purpose. It just so happened to fall that way. One of the biggest drawbacks that I saw of the Texans defense, they had the worst combination of safeties in the NFL last year. Jaquan Brisker is an in-the-box kind of guy, good tackler, but he's really good in coverage. This is an all-around safety. This is a kid that I'm absolutely intoxicated by. Not as good against the run as you would like. He's built like an in-the-box safety, which tells me that he can probably become an elite all-around safety in the NFL. He was on Bruce Feldman's freak list. Unbelievable track athlete. The only thing is he's not blindingly fast. He's going to be about a 4.5 guy. I think he can, no matter what it is you ask him to do, I fully believe he can do it. There are times his eyes get a little lazy, which is why I say he's more of an in-the-box guy than he is over the top, but that can be taught. And I know other people see him differently than I do. He can be a thumper in this league. He can also be a good deep safety. He's just an all-around guy. This is a piece, to me, that becomes a starter on your team for the next 6 to 8 years. You get him at the back end of round 2, and there is absolutely nothing to complain about with that. Be sure to like this video, subscribe so you'll know when every time we go live, including every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time when we air out our ESPN Asheville show live right here on YouTube. And we will do team-by-team content, team needs, free agent grades, mock drafts, team by team, all the way up until the April 28th NFL Draft, live from Las Vegas. With their fourth selection, a third-rounder, number 80 overall, Miles Jones, corner out of Texas A&M. I think even the most diehard Houston Texans fan will admit the secondary was bad. I've already talked about the safeties. The corners weren't good either. I mean, but Kevin King, I'll never understand Kevin King. But to me, Miles Jones, yes, he's a little raw, but he's 6'4", runs about a 4.5. He's a little slight, needs to add good weight onto the frame. Not as good of a press corner as you would like from a 6'4" guy. However, the raw of him, 2 years from now, he could be unbelievably good. Great ball hawking corner. There are some people that think he moves to safety. I don't, because I don't see a safety in him. I think that takes away what he does best. Could use some technical work, maybe make his hips a little more fluid. There are very few guys in this league that are 6'4" and can play like this. Well, you're also in a division with Michael Pittman, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Perfect kind of corner for this team. I like this kid probably better than other people in the industry. I've seen it. I've seen people say he's going to go in the 7th round. You're out of your fucking gourd. This kid's going to be a second-day pick. There's just not many 6'4" corners that are that fluid most of the time. Needs to be refined. Not going to be an immediate day one fix, but a very quality player in this league. Their next selection at 135 overall, in the 4th round, Rachaad White, the running back out of Arizona State. This kid had a tremendous Senior Bowl. And yes, I understand that you re-signed Rex Burkhead. David Johnson is a lost cause. Rachaad White can be your running back for the future. 6'2", 210, really, really speedy, mid-4.5, 4.4 kind of guy. Elite week at the Senior Bowl, and he showed exactly what he could do. Wasn't highly recruited coming out of high school, played at a JUCO, then wound up at Arizona State, and I think Herm Edwards got a lot out of him. Not a great pass protector. He works nicely with Rex Burkhead. This is a guy that can be your feature back and allow Rex Burkhead to do the Swiss Army knife things. Elite level running back. I think this kid can be a top 20, top 25 running back in the NFL 2 years from now. It'll take a year. You have to refine out some of the flaws in his game. He's not really polished. Another guy that was on the Bruce Feldman's freak list, he squats 500 pounds as a running back. Really strong, really committed, hardworking kid, Rachaad White, Arizona State. With there's a little gap here because they have no 5th round pick. 3 picks in the 6th round. First one, linebacker out of Indiana, Micah McFadden. I wanted to get a linebacker to the Houston Texans earlier than this because they do have a deficiency in the linebacking core. Their linebacking core was god-awful last year. This is a kid that can get pass rush from all three spots. No matter where he plays, no matter where anybody sees him lining up, he can get pass rush. Not the greatest cover guy you've ever seen. Bit of a tweener, only 6'2", 230, so needs to add a little bulk to the frame. But he is really an instinctive pass rusher, good tackler, good against the run. If he has to start as a two-down linebacker, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think this is a kid that you get here and can be a starter in this league instantaneously, plus adds to your special teams right off the jump the minute he gets into camp. With your second sixth round pick, Kellen Dyche, offensive tackle from Arizona State, dipping back into the Sun Devil well. This is a kid I project as a tackle. Some people see him as a guard. I don't see that. 6'7", 290. Needs to add a little bulk to the frame. Not a freak of nature athletically, but the technique's really good. It's a good pass blocker, good feet movement, very strong. This kid may blow the combine out on the bench press. The only thing that makes me nervous, he does have long arms. So that may keep him from putting up the unbelievable number. If this kid was 310, I think he would be a day 2 pick. Looking at the Houston Texans, I could see there is a path that he is the starting right tackle and you move Marcus Cannon into the inside. That's entirely possible. That's how highly I think of this kid. And to get him in the 6th round would be an absolute steal. Final 6th round pick, Emeka Emezi, wide receiver from just down the road at NC State. This kid's super raw. I know he had some high-level plays at NC State. He was a highlight-grabbing kind of guy. Very tall. This could be the outside. The way I envision this is that you have Nico Collins, Brandin Cooks, Jahan Dotson next year. Eventually, Cooks is going to move on. There's been too much bitching. If he were to move on, Emeka Emezi could be the second outside receiver. 6'3", 210, good deep threat, got good hands. Not as good a blocker as you would like him to be at this size. Going to have to work on that. My big fear with him, I'm not sure he can separate from NFL corners. That being said, he's a big physical kid. Kind of reminds, and this is a bit of a lazy comparison because they went to the same school, kind of reminds me of Jericho Cotchery that played for my Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 2000s. Never did anything that just blew your mind, but he works so hard. He's so big-bodied. I think he's going to develop into a good possession receiver in the NFL. It's just going to take some time. It won't be instantaneous. He is not as good as Nico Collins, not as raw talented as Nico Collins, but can be, I think, a second outside receiver in the NFL. With the final pick, number 242, in the 7th round, Ben Brown, center out of Ole Miss. I'm going to level. There is probably not a weaker position in this draft than center. Ben Brown, I can't really believe he fell that far because he is talented. The problem is the scheme does not really lend itself to grading guys like this because the way he played center is not the way you play center in the NFL. Developmental piece, somebody that probably shouldn't dress for a game all year. If he does, as a backup, as an 8th offensive lineman, having Justin Britt, that is one of the bright sides of this team, but he is getting older. Ben Brown is a guy that projects to me as an NFL starter. It will take time. He's going to have to learn the NFL game. He's going to have to get his feet right because a lot of the tenets of an Ole Miss spread passing attack does not lend itself to the NFL. Going to have to get better against the run. There were some bad pad level plays, and there were some times that he just whiffed. He comes out on the pull and just absolutely whiffs. Have to refine the technique, but there is a lot of talent there that you can turn into a starting level player in the NFL. If you liked the Texans 7th-round 2022 post-Senior Bowl mock draft, if you didn't like it, if you agree, if you disagree, comment your takes in the comments of this video. I answer them every single day. If there's a player that you want to know how I feel about them, how I think they would fit with your team, feel free to comment those as well. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you know every time we go live, including 3 p.m. Eastern Time every weekday with our live ESPN Radio Asheville show. Thank you for checking out the Houston Texans 2022 7th-round mock draft. Be sure to like and subscribe, as I said, and as always, we're brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.